Morning, Fiona.
Morning, 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 everybody.
Well, we can officially start. We are live on YouTube. I'll also share the link to the YouTube channel in the comments now. I have made the chat so that they can only message myself or yourself.
Okay, great.
But if we do get to the reading sections, you can just request for me to unmute somebody and I will send them a message. To Sia that sent me a message saying you knew, I will post the link for you to go view the previous lessons on our YouTube channel. Thanks, guys. Enjoy your lesson.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the STEM Lockdown Digital School and welcome to our grade 6 English First Additional Language writing lesson today. Welcome. My name is Fiona Beale and I'm your grade 6 First Additional Language teacher. If you haven't been before, hello. So as Mel said, you can direct either her or me directly. You can message us directly. And when it comes to some of the writing things, you can raise your hands. Okay, so today we're doing our writing lesson. And are you wondering what we're going to do? It won't be the same as last week, but it will be writing. So we will be working on term 2, week 1 and 2 CAPS, curriculum for writing, and next week we go on to week 3 and 4 for CAPS. Today you'll revise the 5 elements of the story because this week has been all about stories. You'll be introduced to a writing task and a frame for today using our same theme of wild animals. You'll choose an animal, you'll choose a story title, you'll plan your story using a frame, and you'll read an example story to guide you. You'll also write your story and hopefully you'll complete your story at home, and if your parents agree, you'll read it on Flipgrid. And I do want to thank the 3 people that have done that already. They wrote such lovely things. That was Chetza, JD, and Tapello. Thank you for sharing the stories that you wrote last week. I was really pleased to read those. Okay, I'm just making sure my phone is off. And finally, if there's time, you'll also write a short opinion because that is also part of the curriculum for this week. So are you ready to go? Good. Let's get started. Now this week, in our listening and speaking and our reading, we've dealt with 2 lovely stories. I've enjoyed them about wild animals. The first one was called Lion on the Loose. And if you remember, Lion escaped from the zoo in a downpour. He climbs in the window of a house because he smells porridge, and he ends up back at the zoo. Remember that story? And the other story was called Bablu Bear's Adventure. We did part 2 this week. And in that story, Bablu Bear, who lived in the cold Himalaya mountains, wanted to become famous. He thought of jumping from a tree onto the moon. He became famous for something else. So today we're going to choose one of those stories, Lion on the Loose, and use that one as the basis for our writing lesson. And of course, because it's story week this week, we're going over those 5 elements all the time. Somebody's asked how they raise their hands. I'm not sure how you do that, actually.
Just so for everybody that doesn't know, and for the kids that keeps on turning their videos on, please stop turning your videos on or I will remove you from this lesson. In regards with the raising your hand, you'll see on your screen there's a section where you can click where it says participants. If you click on there, it should give you the option to raise your hand. Okay, it's not necessarily that Ma'am Fiona will accept your question immediately, as we only have 45 minutes to get through a session. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can direct it at me directly in the comment box and I'll try my best to assist. But please, let's have Miss Fiona continue with the lesson, okay?
Okay, let's go on. So We're revising the 5 elements of a story, and I think you know this really well by now, but every story should have characters, setting, a conflict or problem that crops up, a plot, all the events that happen, and finally a resolution of the problem in one way or another. Right, okay, let's get going. So I'm pretty sure you know these well. So what are we going to write about in our first writing task? We are going to write a wild animal story using the provided frame. The frame is based on our Lion on the Loose story. You'll follow the prompts and come up with your own story. And then, well, first of all, we'll plan together and then we'll write together. Okay, got that? Good, 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 good. Let's continue. So just to go over our original story so you remember it, I'm sure you do remember it really well, Lion on the Loose. If you remember that it was pouring with rain and the children were talking about it and they wondered about the animals in the zoo. And then the story focused on Lion, who also didn't like the rain. And it rained and it rained and it rained, and eventually the moat around his enclosure, which is supposed to prevent him going too close to the sides when people come to the zoo, started to fill up with water. And Lion decided to plunge in and escape, which he did. He walked out of the zoo, down the streets. He passed some street children and some street people, and the little boy woke up, but the dad said, oh, it's just go back to sleep, he'll go away, the lion will go away. And eventually he went into a house, he ate the porridge, slept under the bed, and they saw that there had been a lion there, but he disappeared. He'd actually gone back to the zoo. And when the rain was finished, the 2 children went to the zoo and they wondered if that was the lion that slept under their bed. Little did they know it was. And if you remember, the story ended with a picture of these crocodiles that had also escaped that night. So today when we write our story, if you want to, you can choose those crocodiles and write something about them and their adventure out of the zoo. But let's go on. So first of all, we're going to plan our story. Okay. Now, I've mentioned the 6 question words before. Those question words are amazing to bring up ideas. Whenever you're writing a test or writing a story or writing anything, you use these question words to ask questions, you will start remembering things. Do you remember them? The 5 was and a ha, we call them. 5 was and a ha. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. Those are our 6 question words. And I'm going to show you today how you use those for writing a story. So the next time you write a story at school, you can try this out. Okay. Now you know what keywords are, right? Keywords are just, they're not proper sentences. They're just words to remind you of the main ideas that you want to use. So we're going to start with the question, who? Who? Who usually tells you your characters? So here are the instructions now. Have you got your pen and paper ready? So in this section that I'm going to do now, there's no raising of hands. It's just you writing down keywords. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So here are the instructions. Who's your character that you're going to choose? Choose a wild animal character. It could be those crocodiles, but you might want to write about a different wild animal. Okay, you're just going to make up a story about the wild animal, but I'm going to help you every step of the way. And describe your animal. So this is what I wrote for keywords. An old lion, curious, friendly, tame from being in the zoo. You write down your keywords now. Right. Did you get some keywords down? We can't take a long time because we've only got a short 45-minute lesson. Okay, so the next thing is, oh, what's happened now? Sorry. Our next question word is where and when. Where and when. So your instructions are, where does your animal live? Choose the setting. Like it could be the zoo, it could be the wilds, it could be in on somebody's farm, could be anything. Choose the setting, describe the setting, and when did the story take place? So my example, I've said that the lion lives in a small cramped enclosure in a zoo, feels trapped, and this happened one wet day. What are you going to put there? Next week I will change my tune. I'm getting a little bit, I've had a bit much of the same tune. Now, well done. You got that down? Good. Let's go on. Our next question word is what? Here are the instructions. What strange event took place so that your animal had to leave? Describe this event, which we call the conflict. So in my example, it rained. In fact, it poured, even floods. Lion jumped in the moat around the enclosure to escape. So you write down yours. Okay, write down yours so long. I'll give you a few minutes. So you're going to write down keywords just like I'm writing in my example, because we're planning. We're planning, and when you plan, you just get your ideas out, and then we write, and that's when you'll write your full sentences. So you're just writing ideas based on my questions. I'm answering somebody's question. Okay, done? Done. I don't know what happened to my music there. I think I didn't get the animation number right. But let's go on to why. Well, there's the music. Oh dear. I have to have the music while I talk. So, why? Your animal ends up somewhere else. Why did it choose the new setting? Why? So you can see lion ended up in a house because of the porridge. Did anything else happen in the new setting as part of the plot? So for my example, a lion walks along the streets, smells porridge, climbs in window, eats porridge, sleeps under the bed, leaves in the morning. You write down what happens to your animal when he gets to his new place. Okay? Okay, did you get all that? Good, you got your what and your why and all the keywords to do with that. I'm very happy about that. Good. This is a really nice way to write a story, so I hope that you are enjoying it. And our last question word is how. So the instructions, how did your animal feel in its new setting? How did your animal resolve any problems? How does the story end? So for example, my example, Lion started to miss the zoo. He probably missed that nice chunk of meat that he got every day at the zoo. He was used to the zoo, and he decided to go back home before anyone noticed he was gone. So he never caused any problems. He resolved it quickly. You all good? Done? Done? Yes, yes, good. Okay. So, did you get your planning done? Always very important to get your planning done when you're doing a story. Did you answer all the questions so that it's going to be a really nice story? And do you have a good idea of the characters, the setting, the conflict, the plot, and the resolution? The 5 elements of a story. Good. Then, if you've got all that down, we are ready to read an example story. Right. Now, remember Grandpa, or Grandpa tells me that he has written an example story. He's on the board today, Grandpa. He's written the story already. Hello, grade 6. He's written the story already and he wants to know if we can use his story for the example story. So I know Grandpa tells very good stories, so we're going to let him have a turn, okay? But I'll read it, okay, Grandpa? So he's called it Lion's Big Adventure. I like that. So once upon a time, an old lion lived in a tiny enclosure in a crowded zoo. He was a friendly, happy lion, but he wished he could explore the big world outside. Grandpa, why have you written some in blue and some in red? Grandpa says he's written he's used adjectives and connecting words. So in this beginning paragraph, he's given a good opening sentence to start the story, and he's described the character. Did you notice that? He said, once upon a time, an old lion lived in a tiny enclosure in a crowded zoo. That's a very good opening sentence. Well done. And then he described him. He was a friendly, happy lion, but he wished he could explore the big world outside. So that's a very good introductory paragraph. I like that. Then we go on. One day it rained and poured all day. The water in the moat around the enclosure got higher and higher. That night, Lion jumped into the swirling water and escaped. He walked out the front gate. He was very excited. Now that's a very good middle paragraph. He introduced the problem. The problem or the conflict in this story is that the lion wanted to explore the big wide world. And now he's got his opportunity. Very good, Grandpa. Very good. Grandpa's happy. So we go on. Now, we have to have another middle paragraph because the story is a bit longer than just 3 paragraphs. So what happens next? He walked around the empty streets, but he was hungry. He smelled porridge cooking and jumped through an open window. Then he settled down to sleep under a bed. I like that paragraph very much because he's mentioning some other events that happened in the story. Very good. And I like the way Grandpa is using adjectives and connecting words. Very good. Excellent so far. Well done. Well done. Right, let's go on. All night, Lion dreamt about the zoo. He woke up very early the next morning and realized that he missed his friends at the zoo. He rushed back to the zoo before anyone noticed he was missing. Good. So that's the final paragraph. The end paragraph where you bring the story to a close. You mention how the problem is solved and you use the right ending. I think Grandpa You are excellent. That was a stunning story. Don't you think so, grade 6? Grandpa's feeling embarrassed, but really it was a very good story. Thank you, Grandpa. So now it's your turn. Now somebody's asking how long must it be? So it can be as long as you like, but if you want to finish it in this lesson, it needs to be quite short. Maybe 3 paragraphs, a beginning, a middle, and an end, but you could do what we did in this story and have 2 middle paragraphs. So now I'm going to help you now each step of the way. And if there's time, I'll get one person to read what they've written for each part. Okay, are you ready to write? Good. Right. So we're going to write this together. You've got your animal, right? Got your animal. So write your title. Okay, write your title. So Grandpa in his story wrote Lion's Big Adventure. Whoops. So write down your title quickly. You all got your title? Write it down. Great. Okay. Now your title should be something where the person reading looks at it and thinks, oh, that sounds exciting. I want to read that. Let's go on now to your opening paragraph. So you're going to use a good opening sentence to start the story, and you'll describe your character and mention where your character is. So if you remember Grandpa's story, once upon a time, an old lion lived in a tiny enclosure in a crowded zoo. He was a friendly, happy lion, but he wished he could explore the big world outside. So you write down a few sentences now about your animal, okay? Right, you're done. You're done? Does anybody want to read their opening paragraph? I'd love to hear somebody's opening paragraph. If so, could you raise your hands? Okay, Solga was the very first one to raise a hand. Should we hear Solga?
Yes, it's me, Soga.
Hi, Solga.
Hi, ma'am.
Okay. Hi, let's hear your opening paragraph.
Okay. Once upon a time, there was a lion who lives on a den. He used to live on a big zoo. That's all.
Excellent. Well done, well done, well done. Can we have one more example?
Hello everybody.
Hello.
Once upon a time, there was a wombat that lived in a big room and knew his way all over the house. He was very curious about when the door was gonna be open because he always wondered how was the world like outside this house.
Beautiful, beautiful, excellent. Should we just
Thank you
take
very
one
much.
more? Well done. I'm loving these opening paragraphs. Should we take one more? Right, any more? One more. Anybody? Mel?
I have unmuted Luandle.
Lawandle?
Once,
Lawandle?
ma'am. Once upon a time, there was a leopard who lived in a jungle, and they were always pulling the leopard. Leopard didn't. Leopard had to stop the pulling.
Wow.
So he decided that he should ask the king to make him the king when the kings die, so that he can stop the bullying.
That sounds so interesting. Good, good. Okay, good. We're going to go on now so that we get finished. All right, so we're going to go on. Thank you very much to those brave people that read their stories, their opening paragraphs. They were lovely. So now we get to the third one. Oh, what's happened to my, oh wait. Oh dear. Okay. Something went wrong with my music, sorry. So in the next paragraph, you introduce the problem and you describe the event that caused the animal to leave. So, for example, in Grandpa's story, one day it rained and poured all day. The water in the moat around the enclosure got higher and higher. Lion jumped into the swirling water and escaped. He walked out of the front gate. He was very excited. So I'd like you to write an opening, your next paragraph, and introduce the problem that happened, the event, this event. Don't put your hand up just yet, Tumalang. I'm going to give you a few minutes. I'm going to give you a few minutes just to write a few sentences in the next paragraph that introduces the problem, how your animal got free and starts off on his new journey. Okay. Okay. Has anybody got their next paragraph done and you'd like to read it out to the class? So I've got some hands there. Right. Let's see. Lawazi. Okay, Lawazi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Once upon a time, I remember I didn't go for my first paragraph. So, once upon a time, there were 3 crocodiles who lived in the same zoo as the lion. They were very mischievous. They were very mischievous and naughty, and they always wanted to escape the zoo. So one day, when they saw that the lion had run out, they secretly followed him to the outside gate.
Very good. Okay, well done, Lawazi. I think that was Lawazi. Hey, have we got time for one more? One more. So now don't read your opening paragraph, just read this paragraph where it's the next paragraph. Okay, who have we got here?
Nathan.
Hi, Nathan.
Hi. So I said they fought sometimes and they ran. It rained so hard they swam away to discover the world.
Okay, excellent, excellent. I like that. Shall we take one more? Excellent, Nathan. One more.
Okay. In the den, the lion has heard an event on the zoo. But the lion was so excited, but the rain was strong. Lion was running, but the storm came. Then they striked him.
Okay, that's good. Good. Okay, well, we better get on with our story. I see the minutes ticking, but thank you to those that shared. I'm very impressed. Let's go on. So now we get to the fourth paragraph. So our story is not quite finished. And did anything else happen while your animal had escaped? For example, for Lion, he walked around empty streets, but he was hungry. He smelled porridge cooking and jumped through an open window. Then he settled down to sleep under a bed. So just write a couple of sentences about what happened when your animal got out of its setting to its new setting. Okay, got that? Good. Anybody want to share theirs? Anybody want to share what they wrote?
Simmerling.
All right. Emily?
The crocodile escaped at the river, and then it stood at the forest where there was many creatures, so it couldn't return to its older place.
Oh, very good. That sounds exciting. Well done. Should we take another one?
Astrid.
When they reached the land, Brutus's heart sank. A boy whose name was Jimmy, he was young. As Jimmy held Brutus, he slipped out of his hands and flew into a wishing pond. All the coins stuck to Brutus's sticky skin. I'm
Very
done.
good. Well, I'm noticing adjectives, lots of adjectives there. Well done, and connecting words. So very well done to you. We better carry on now because I'm noticing the time. So well done to those that shared. Excellent. Now we're getting to our last paragraph now, where you're going to close off your story. Okay. So in the last paragraph, you're going to bring the story to a close. Mention how the problem is solved and use an appropriate ending. So for example, all night Lion dreamt about the zoo. He woke up very early the next morning and realized that he missed his friends at the zoo. He rushed back to the zoo before anyone noticed he was missing. Right. What are you going to write? Bring your story to a nice close now. Okay, are you done? So who would like to share just their last paragraph? Just their last paragraph.
Jaden.
The lion started to cry because he missed his friends and his siblings. So he went back to the zoo.
Good, very good. Somebody else? I'm loving all these stories. Wow. Who's going to read their last paragraph? I like the way that last Jaden ended his off. Who's going to be next?
Fiona, Luke's hand has been up like since the beginning of the class, wanting
Okay.
to answer something, but I can't seem to unmute him.
Oh, okay.
So he might just
Sorry.
need to answer for us in the chat box if he can.
Sorry about that, Luke. Who else
There
have
we
we
go. He's
got?
unmuted. There we go.
Hello.
Oh, hello, hello.
Mine says he went back to the zoo and he saw the people. That's it.
Very good. Nice and short and to the point. Excellent. All right, we'll take one more.
Well, Pelo sent a message saying he wants to please share his. Let me just see if he has a mic available. Well, Pelo?
So the pig was lying in the forbidden forest when his heart started beating as fast as a drum. He realized that his friends came looking for him because they realized that he had gone missing, and he was really happy that they were thinking about him. That's it.
Isn't that sweet? That's very, very sweet. I like that ending. Okay, now let me just look at the time. So now on the flip grid, there were those three people that I mentioned. Chester, Chetza, JD, and Tapello. Are any of those people here today? Because I'd love one of them to read out their whole story here, seeing that they were brave enough to read it all on Flipgrid. So the last story is any of those three here, Chetza, Kandeli, JD, or Tapella?
I know JD is in the class. JD, please just raise your hand if you're willing to read your story aloud. Let me just see. Just want to see if I can see any of the other names.
Is Tapello here? Tapello?
No, it doesn't look like Tapelo's here.
And Chester? Chetza?
No, it doesn't look like it. Let me just...
Is Owetu? Okay, I'll tell you what. Just take anybody so we can finish off with one whole story.
Is it Owetu Dube?
Owetu Dube?
She is in the class. Did she also submit a story?
Okay, if she would like to read hers, because she also did answer on Flipgrid for reading. So let's see.
Owetu?
Okay, let's just take anyone because the minutes are ticking by.
Except the first name on my list, which was Ashley.
Okay, Ashley.
He was given a shelter with his lost family. It's kind of short.
Good, good. That's very good. Brings it right to the point. Well done, Ashley. Would anyone like to read their whole story right from the beginning? Tando. Let's see. I saw a Tando.
Okay. Let's just see. There's a Una here. I'm gonna unmute. Una?
The whole story, Una.
Cow's Big Adventure.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
There was a cow called Betsy. Betsy lived in a farm with other animals. He would hear voices like come and didn't know where they came from. While all the other animals were sleeping and the farmers were sleeping, Betsy got out and ran. The farmers heard Betsy and ran after him. The farmers couldn't catch him. He was walking and he was thirsty. He found water, but there were people. He walked slowly and drank. A child said, "Where did you come from?" Betsy just moved softly. The child let him go. The cow traveled for so long, but he got to the sound. But there was a cave. When he got inside, there was a big thing with stars on it. The voice said, You are a worthy animal. I will grant you a wish. You can talk now." And he was teleported. and got back to the farm with his friends. I forgot to mention the child would visit Betsy and play with him. The end.
Wow, isn't that amazing? Such good imagination. Wow, well done, well done. Well, we unfortunately have to start bringing our lesson to a close now, but I loved all those sharings of the different paragraphs and then the whole story at the end. That was super, super. So if you would like to me to hear your finished story, you could go to Flipgrid and type in this code, ask your parents first, then you click the plus sign and it'll take you straight to the place where you tell your story, okay? If you want to write down that code, and then all you do is press the plus sign and read your story, and you've got 1.5 minutes, and then the video ends. So if you can do that, that will be so awesome. A745C089. Got that? Good. So we're going to now have to bring our story to an end, our session to an end. So we won't be able to do this next part properly, but maybe you could do this on your own. Write an opinion. And the question is, do you think it's right to keep wild animals in a zoo? Now, when you write an opinion, you give your thoughts, just a few sentences. So I'd like you to write 3 sentences giving your opinion. You could start off like this. I think it's right or wrong to keep wild animals in a zoo because, and then you give your sentence, finish your, so that you've got 3 sentences altogether. Got that? Great. So we won't do that now because time's up. So let's just go over what you did today. We worked on the term 2, week 1 and 2 CAPS curriculum for writing. And we revised the 5 elements of a story that you should really know well by now. We introduced the writing task and the frame for today based on the question words. And we chose an animal to write about. I'm glad some of you chose the crocodiles. Well done. You chose a story title. You planned your story using a frame. You read an example story, you wrote your story, and I should have put there, some of you read your story. So hopefully you'll complete your story at home and read it into Flipgrid. And you didn't actually have time to write an opinion, but if we'd had enough time, you would have written an opinion. And so something to do this week, you can read your finished story into Flipgrid if you want to. If you like writing stories, go to storyjumper.com. It's a lovely place to write story and get all the clip art to go with it, and it's free. Don't forget that to become a writer, you need to be a reader, and Amazon's made their Audible stories free during COVID. So you could go to stories.audible.com and listen to some stories on your laptop. And today's story was based on the story about Lion on the Loose from the Storyweaver website. Okay, so those were our helpful links. I'd like to invite you to Monday's lesson. It's a listening and speaking lesson, same time, 10 o'clock, and we're going to do listening and speaking. It introduces, actually it doesn't introduce a new story. I've made a mistake there because next week is information text. So it introduces an information text for us to listen to and enjoy. So I hope that you will join us there. Right, does anybody, I don't think there's even time for anybody to say a last word. It's quite
just before we end off today, I just want to tell everybody from Monday, we will be using a new application to do our lessons on, which is a bit safer for everybody. It is called Microsoft Teams. Okay, I'll write it in the comment section. If you guys can just so long, you don't need to download the app or anything like that. You will be able to just stream from the video. So it is going to be from Monday, but we will send out the links to you guys on our Facebook page as well as on the mailing list. But please just take note not to try and open it in Zoom, as we will no longer be using Zoom from Monday. Okay, that's all from my side. Fiona, is there anything else?
Okay, so I want to thank Mel, because Mel has been our host up to now, and she's been amazing, don't you think? So next week we'll be getting a new host, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Thank you very much for coming today. If you are on social media, don't forget our hashtag #LockdownSchool. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks. Bye-bye.